We've had some interesting weather. Bit of snow. Escort Hot Wheels laid out. These Mk2 Capri models. Genuine Ford badges. Whole box of genuine Ford spark plugs. A centre console in brown. Maude is out in the snow. It's held on with the Velcro. Give her a bit of choke. Might have to take Maude for a quick rip. Drive in the snow, which is always fun. With Nankang NS2R semi-slick. Something feels really weird on the rear end. My hands are absolutely freezing. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and if you watched the last video, you'll know that Maude, my moredoor Mk2 Escort, has a bit of an issue I need to deal with that occurred when I took her to a West London Classic Ford meet recently. Yeah, she's still misfiring. Big time. So I'm hoping in this video to get her back running properly and back on the road, and we've had some interesting weather over the last couple of days. As you can see, we've had a bit of snow, and I hear there has been a bit of snowfall in Mexico as well. So looking forward to getting Maude out for some snow drifting. But first, I do need to deal with this running issue. Now, before all that, I've got some bits that were sent to me through the post. But before that, I've got something really cool to show you that I found when I was out at the supermarkets hunting for model cars. Now, I've actually got all of my Escort Hot Wheels laid out on the bed here because I'm a loser, and I've found one more of these since the video before last, and I found these 4 Mk2s. But something I found really cool in Tesco's the other day, which isn't Hot Wheels, it's actually Matchbox, are these Mk2 Capri models. And yeah, managed to find all of these in the same Tesco's shop. This is a sort of a different series of various British cars. So yeah, got this Mk2 Capri in yellow with the black bonnet. And yeah, these sort of regular Matchbox models, they come in silver. So yeah, as with Mk1 and Mk2 Escorts, I'm going to be grabbing as many of these as I can to add to this collection. In fact, I need to put one of these in the cabinet at some point. Now, I've actually got, I think, 55 Mk1 and Mk2 Hot Wheels in the packets, and I think there's 10 in my cabinet. So yeah, got 65 Escort Hot Wheels so far, but I will be buying every single one that I see in the shops because, again, I'm a loser. Back into my living room, you can see that my beautiful girlfriend Kat has put the Christmas tree over here, which means the model car cabinet has been moved over here. Over here, I've got some shelving that I intend to put in the garage here at home. But over here, I've got some bits that were sent to me by a guy called Liam Cuxon. Massive, massive thanks to you if you're watching, mate. So I've got 2 genuine Ford badges, still in the Ford packets, brand new. Awesome. I'm hoping they're the right size for a Mk2 Escort, and I'll be able to fit them to Heidi, my other moredoor Mk2 Escort, when I actually get round to getting her painted and stuff. But in here, I've got a whole box of genuine Ford spark plugs, which are apparently the correct ones for an ST170 engine. So yeah, these are going to come in really handy for whenever I need to change plugs on Maude, and also on Esther, my Mk1 Escort, because she, of course, is also running an ST170 engine. So yeah, massive, massive thanks to you, Liam. Really appreciate you sending me these bits. They're definitely going to come in handy. I actually got sent something from my friend Barry Curran over in Northern Ireland ages ago, which I've been meaning to show you, so I'll show you that now while I think of it. So in this box, we've got a centre console in brown. I don't think this is out of a Mk2 Escort. I think it came out of a Granada or a Capri or something. But the clock is probably the same as what, you know, Mk2 Escorts have fitted. But yeah, he had no need for this, so he sent it to me. You know, hopefully, you know, maybe the gear stick gator and, as I say, the clock might come in handy, or maybe there's someone else out there that really needs this for their car. But yeah, really, really grateful that Barry sent me that. So if you're watching, Barry, massive, massive thanks to you. I hope everything's going well with your rear-wheel drive Fiesta project. Really looking forward to seeing that hopefully up and running next time I come over to see you guys in Northern Ireland. Now, with all that being said, I think it's time for me to brave the cold, get round to the garage, and hopefully get Maude up and running properly again. Alright, so Maude is out in the snow. I still haven't given her a wash. It's still literally a matter of days since I painted her boot lid. Now I'm taking this car to a horsepower at Herbie's meet in about a week's time, if we manage to get her running properly. So yeah, I don't plan to give her a wash until then, and hopefully then the paint on the boot lid and the bonnet will be dry enough so that giving her a wash isn't going to cause any issues. Anyway, since the last video, I've removed the spare coil pack and leads from Maude's engine because we sort of confirmed that they weren't the issue. I've also redone the heat shield on the wire to the crank sensor. I know you can't really see it very well, but I do have a couple of examples of the products that I've used. So first I've put on some of this sort of stick-on stuff. You know, you peel the backing off and stick that on, and then over the top of that I've put some of this stuff which, you know, literally wraps around and it's held on with the Velcro. So yeah, that should stop the heat from the exhaust manifold getting to that wire. I found that the heat shrink that was on there before, and I only had the stick-on stuff on there before, was peeling off a little bit. So I really hope that the heat hasn't ruined that wire. But yeah, I'm going to look at a few other things before I rule out that wire. I think what I'm going to do first is actually throw in some of the genuine Ford spark plugs, which I've got here, which obviously came from that big box that Liam sent me. Now, I don't think the spark plugs are causing this issue, but I may as well run the genuine Ford ones, seeing as I've got so many of them. Then after that, I'm going to start switching out sensors. Now, I went to my other garage and grabbed the crank and cam sensor from INSTA, my Mk2 Escort. I've also, somewhere, got the VVT solenoid from INSTA. Now, I don't really think that the VVT solenoid is at fault, but I did notice that at idle, the VVT isn't following the target on the map, which I don't think is to do with the solenoid either, to be honest. But yeah, while I was at the other garage grabbing the other sensors, I thought I might as well grab the VVT solenoid as well. So yeah, first things first, I'm going to chuck these spark plugs in. Then I'm going to hook the laptop up to Maude's ME100 ECU, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I've got my laptop hooked up to the ME100 ECU from my friends at Motorsport Electronics. I was actually planning to phone the guys up at Motorsport Electronics to ask them a couple of things to do with this issue, and I've also got another couple of things I want them to run me through, including getting the launch control and the shift light working with this new ME100 ECU. But I haven't got in touch with them, so yeah, we'll save that for another day. But I'm pretty sure I'll be able to solve this issue just with a bit of trial and error. Anyway, I've got the electric switched on the car, got the ignition key turned, got this switch switched on, which is my main power switch. I've got the ECU switched on, but not the fuel pump. Don't need to turn the fuel pump on at the moment. And with the ECU connected to the laptop, it's connected automatically. And yeah, as I showed you on the last video, there was some lost sync counts. I think you can either go to diagnostics or sensor calibration. So I'll go to sensor calibration. And yeah, on that page, you've got the lost sync count. Now, if I poke the camera at that, which obviously says 0 at the moment, and crank the engine, if the fault is going to occur today, because it might be like an intermittent fault, that lost sync count will count up. And if you get more than, you know, a handful, then, you know, there's an issue somewhere with one of the sensors. So I'm going to push this big red button and let you look at the lost sync count. Alright, so that is actually how it's supposed to be, you know, there's only one. So we'll flick the fuel pump on, give that a couple of seconds to pump the fuel to the carbs, because it hasn't been run for days now. Give her a bit of choke, seeing as it is freezing. So yeah, the lost sync count is only on 8, which isn't the end of the world, because, you know, I was trying to start the car for quite a while. So this fault is obviously intermittent. I mean, we didn't get any major misfiring on the way to the meet until we'd actually got to the rendezvous point, which is, you know, a good 20 or 30 miles, you know, round the M25. So yeah, it might be one of them issues that only really occurs when the engine's warm. So might have to take Maude for a quick rip. I need to go to the post office to post out some of your merchandise orders, so I'm going to go and do that. Great opportunity to have a little bit of a drive in the snow, which is always fun. We are driving on snow with Nankang NS2R semi-slicks on. Something feels really weird on the rear end. Alright, merch is posted. Massive thanks to everyone who's been keeping me busy with the merchandise side of things during this festive period. Really grateful that so many of you are purchasing my products as Christmas presents for your loved ones. Yeah, really appreciate all your guys' support. Not sure if by the time this video comes out there'll still be time to grab bits in time for Christmas, but yeah, there's certainly still plenty of bits on my website if any of you guys would like to support and represent the channel. And I will of course leave a link to my website in the description as always. I think the noise that I could hear on the rear end and, you know, the movement I could feel is actually the U-bolts for the leaf springs, because before the recent drift day I removed all the saddle bushes and stuff. There's actually not anything really locating the axle onto the leaf springs. It's literally just relying on the U-bolts and the nuts. And I remember in the past, whenever I've fitted lowering blocks or, you know, taken the axle apart and put it back together, after a few miles I have had to nip those U-bolt nuts up. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's causing that issue. Alright, so I'm back at the garage, and after driving around for quite a long time, that problem hasn't occurred at all. As you would have seen from the clips, I was hitting rev limiter, and yeah, absolutely no problem with how she's driving. So unless it was something to do with the spark plugs or something to do with the fact that heat wrap wasn't protecting that wire, yeah, it's either fixed itself or that fault will come back another day to bite me in the backside. Now, I did just go and pick up my laptop, and I left the car running when I picked the laptop up, and I've left it running now ever since I've got back to the garage. I did stop off at Wickes only a little while ago, to be honest, so the ECU has been off during my drive. Yeah, I'll go to Diagnostics up here, and yeah, there's literally one lost sync count, which is normal, you know, every time you start the car really. So yeah, the fault definitely hasn't occurred today. Now I'll just go back to the VVT. Now obviously I've mentioned recently that I've got a problem with this. It seems like, you know, when it's at idle, this, you know, isn't showing what that is until you get up to a certain, you know, revs, if you like. So again, you know, it's not following, and then all of a sudden it is. Let's just turn this off. I think I'm just going to quickly switch these VVT solenoids around and just see if there's any change. Unplug it first. There you go. Well, there's nothing, according to my untrained eye, that's wrong with this. None of the holes are blocked or anything. But yeah, I'll just throw the other one in and then we'll see what the laptop's saying. Push that in there. Plug her in. Well, it appears that these numbers are still doing what they were doing before. So that's obviously being caused by something else. Now, it's worth noting that when I switched from the old ME100 ECU to this new version, I didn't have the car remapped or anything. I literally just copied the map from the old one over to the new one, essentially. And the guys at Motorsport Electronics were saying that it might not work like that. Don't know the word to use, to be honest, but there was something to do with the VVT that one of the guys at Motorsport Electronics told me there was a way of testing to see if, you know, the old settings were going to be suitable on the new ECU. So that's one of the things that I wanted to speak to the guys about and, yeah, clarify, because maybe that's what's causing my issue here with the VVT. Or maybe when I put the cylinder head on this car recently and done the timing, maybe I didn't have the VVT sprung back to 0 properly. However, I do always slacken off both of the cam pulleys, which should prevent that mistake happening. But yeah, essentially what this is telling me is that the inlet cam is advanced by 14 degrees when the map at idle tells it that it should be at 0. That's the cam sensor telling the ECU that it's at 14. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to switch out the cam sensor just in case that's faulty, and you know, the cam might actually be at 0, but the cam sensor is faulty and telling the ECU that it's at 14 wrongly. Just like that. Doesn't look like there's anything visibly wrong with this. Essentially, this is just a magnet and it picks up on some sort of tabs that stick out on the inlet cam, and as it spins round, it, you know, you get a pulse from this magnet. Pretty similar to how the crank sensor works, which is obviously down there. So yeah, you can actually see how similar a cam sensor is to a crank sensor. This is the crank sensor, and this is the cam sensor. Just, you know, one sort of slightly longer and narrower, really. Still the same. So it obviously wasn't the cam sensor either. Hello, into a new day, and it's another freezing cold one. Now, it's actually been 2 days since the last clip, and since then I've been driving Maude around with absolutely no signs of the misfire, which is good, but not totally convinced that the problem has been permanently solved. Now, the other day I actually went and picked up another one of these shelving things from Costco. These shelving units aren't super strong, but they're really cheap, and yeah, I'm not planning to put anything super heavy on it anyway. I still do need to have a tidy up in here and make better use of the space. Yesterday indoors, I painted the boot lock satin black, just sanded it down, gave it a dust of etch and then a coat of the satin black spray can. And these bits here are for the boot straps. But like an idiot, I forgot to take these bits home and sand and paint those. So yeah, I'll have to take them home with me and do those later on before I can actually fit the boot straps back into the car. Oh, my hands are absolutely freezing already. I've only been around here 5 minutes, but yeah, I've got this clip here which I kept on the lock so I didn't lose it. Insert this into here. Don't tell me the thickness of the paint is now making it not able to go in. Oh, hands are so cold. There you go. Let me put this clip back on the shaft. Looks much better than the chrome one. Alright, now just going to put those strap brackets back where they were before. There and there. Damn! Yet more black chipped paint, and I'm trying to use the rivet gun. Scratch the boot lid as well. None of that matters with this old banger. Not going to cry over a little bit of chipped paint. Anyway, I really need to get myself back in the warm as soon as I can. But before I leave here today, I do want to have a go at putting the mesh on the bonnet behind these holes. Got this mesh off of eBay, black stuff. Should look pretty cool. Now this bonnet, of course, already has holes where they obviously put mesh behind this bonnet when the previous owner had it. So yeah, I think I'm just going to cut it roughly to shape, and then hopefully just be able to rivet it on and get this done very quickly. And I actually bought these snips when I went to Wickes the other day. Should do the trick. I think I'm going to start in the middle. The way I'm going to do it is obviously the rivets will go through this way and then poke through the mesh, and then I've put a washer underneath. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. So we'll start with this one here. Actually worked really well. Perfect. View from the top. Now I've just got to repeat for all the other rivets. Tell you what, I'm actually really happy with how this looks. Yeah, really cool. As I've mentioned before with the bonnet pins and stuff, I might end up changing these for black rivets. I don't know yet. When I actually lined up this bit of mesh, I almost attached it with the pattern of the mesh the opposite way, which would have really annoyed me. But yeah, man, nice little finishing touch to Maude's new fiberglass bonnet. In a few days, I'm going to be going to one of the legendary horsepower Herbie's meets at Herbie's Diner in Cambridge, but I think that would have come and gone by the time this video goes out, so massive shout to anyone I did speak to at that meet. I will of course leave all the horsepower at Herbie's links in the description for any of you guys that want to check out one of their future events. Awesome meets, well worth the trip. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to end this video here. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe if you're new to keep up to date with all my future uploads, and check the links in the description to my social media, my own website. I'll leave a link to my Patreon down there for any of you guys that want to jump on that. Massive, massive thanks to all my patrons for your ongoing support, and I'll leave my email address in the description for anyone who wants to contact me. But other than that, until next time, thanks for watching.